For Global Business Update, Michael Wilson joins us now from London. Good morning, Michael. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you. Yes, all eyes really on Jay Powell in the United States. And because what he's going to give congressional evidence today, does it every month. But today, it's pretty pressing, really, because people would like to know what the direction of the Fed is going to be as far as interest rates are concerned, what the next rate is going to be and by how much. They've done it pretty aggressively, as you know, in the past. And there's all important jobs figures are out on Friday, so that'll give us some clues to the strength of the US economy. China's trade data is out today. Imports down about 10%, which suggests that maybe the domestic economy isn't as strong as the communists would actually like. But we'll see how that goes. China has a new foreign minister. He's called Qin Gang, and he's been talking about China's relationship with the United States. It's sort of bellicose. What he's saying is that at the moment it appears as though the two countries are on a divergent path, and they need to get together for what he describes as constructive discussions. But one red line that he did emphasize was Taiwan. That's something which China, he says, will not tolerate any kind of interference at all. As you know, China regards it as an internal problem or an internal conflict, and it is part of China rather than part of the rest of the world, or indeed independent. That's the Chinese view. Let's therefore go to the United States, and as I said, stock futures up just a very little bit there, but most are waiting for what Jay Powell is going to say as far as the economy is concerned, and interest rate rises are happening. Goldman Sachs is very keen on Apple this morning, which has helped that particular share price. Inflationary information about the United States before we hit those all-important jobs figures on Friday, including wholesale inventories and also consumer credit. That'll give us some idea of how the economy is actually going there. I'm going to take you to Tesla now, staying in the United States, and its Model S and Model X prices. It's reducing those, and it's sort of another step in the price war of electric vehicles. They're still pretty pricey, though. I mean, a Model S starts at $89,000, almost $90,000, and a Model X starts at almost $100,000. They knock off $100 in the quoted price to make it seem slightly less than it is, but that's where that's going at the moment. Let us take you to the story which is continuing about London losing out to Wall Street as far as IPOs are concerned. We know that ARM is going to be floated by SoftBank, its owner, in the United States rather than in the UK. And it looks as though there's now a record gap between the MSCI UK index and the MSCI New York or US index. Again, it sounds very, very technical. Bottom line is that shares are actually quoted as being less valuable in London than they are, generally speaking, in the United States. This causes shareholders to want to list in the United States to get more bang for their buck. UK, now the Labour Party, the Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves is saying that she wants to revisit the tax regime that faces businesses right now, make it much more business friendly, and she wants to boost business investment in the country as well. Again, the usual thing will apply. It's all right saying these things, but where is the money actually going to come from? As you know, it's still expected that the corporation rate will go up. The corporation tax rate will go up from 19 to 25% when it's announced at the budget next week. UK is also, now this is an interesting one. This is a brand of coffee. I don't know whether you have it with you. We do. It's a big part of the high street. Costa Coffee, and they're awarding their employees a cost of living increase between 6 and 7%, 16,000 of them. They're following on from other countries, other shops which do takeaway food, like Pret a Manger, for example. Again, part of the high streets in the UK and in the United States as well. So the employees are getting a cost of living increase there. And two things as far as commodities are concerned. First of all, oil price up very, very slightly yesterday. Gained about $1 yesterday on the expectation that there will be a soft landing in the United States. But the oil company companies themselves are now going to benefit from considerable subsidies from the Inflation Reduction Act, which Joe Biden passed. In other words, helping them transition from fossil fuels to green fuels. So they're getting quite high subsidies. And then we often talk about lithium. Again, the Bank of America is saying there may well be a surplus in this rather rare metal simply because of lack of demand for electric vehicles in China. That is the global view this morning. Good morning.
All right. Michael, help me understand this. Is there not a lot of flip-flopping as regards Joe Biden's policy? Because only a couple of months ago, when all the oil majors declared their very big fat profit, over 50, 60 billion US, there were talks about windfall taxes. Now they are saying another inflation regulation, to be able to give oil companies a soft landing. So what part of the divide is Joe Biden really?
Well, I think what he's trying to do is to ease the transition, and there are votes in this, obviously, ease the transition of oil majors from fossil fuels to greener fuels, maybe bottling up the carbon dioxide, all these kind of things that they do. So I think he's sort of helping them on the one hand, but once, of course, they are helped, it'll be much more difficult to refuse a windfall tax on them, which again is still on the sidelines at the moment. That's the way I read it this morning.
All right, so just a quick question around what's going on just to break it down a bit further in terms of what's going on between the US and China, with the Foreign Minister, Mr. Qin, talking about the fact that they might even progress into conflict. Remember the balloon that was said to be a weather balloon, and China laid claims to that. And now they're talking about the fact that US has no right to ask them to not supply arms to Russia if they are also still supplying arms to Taiwan. And then aside from that, on a lighter note, going to Twitter and Elon Musk and what's going on with jobs there. Last month, 200 more job cuts. Famously, Mr. Tolsin, who had sold his business to Twitter, had come on Twitter to ask Mr. Musk if he still had a job. And it happened that he had indeed lost his job, even though he hadn't been informed by HR in 7 days. And so looking at Twitter, their job numbers have gone from 7,500 to a little over 2,000. Any more job cuts in the future for Twitter?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what happens in an autocratically controlled business, isn't it, really? I mean, you have to do what the boss says, and Elon Musk has bought Twitter, and the people who work for Twitter are quite understandably mystified about what's going on, because they're getting no direction at all, apart from am I employed or am I not? And this is the multiplication of employees and the size of Twitter, given its users around the world. I suspect that a lot of parents will be saying to their children, actually, let's just stay off Twitter, because it said yesterday, didn't it, that there are no guardrails really about, or one of the employees was saying that there's no filtering of harmful content on Twitter. Now, there may well be, but my view about social media is, if you want to, by all means do. It is your freedom to do it, but you watch out for the consequences. It's not what I always thought that social media was about sensible discussion. It's not. It's a playground. And it's a playground of taunts, and it's a playground of insults, as well as some discussion as well. If you want to get involved with that, by all means do. If you don't, then don't. As far as China and the United States is concerned, I mean, I quoted what he was saying because he is the new foreign minister, and he started off. I think he's not quite declaring war on the United States or anything like that. What he's saying is that at the moment they appear to have diverging interests, and I mean we've noted that on this program many times in the past. It includes Taiwan, but it also includes trade. It includes semiconductors as well, and what he's pointing to, although he doesn't actually say it, or at least not in my translation of it, he doesn't actually say that's the end of globalization. But you can see how, we again talking about this yesterday, were about the onshoring of businesses and so on. If that's actually happening, then the large nations are pulling away from each other rather than engaging in some kind of constructive discussion. As far as China's ambitions with Russia is concerned, I simply, like everybody else, do not know. I mean, as far as I can see, what they're doing is, what would you be doing? You'd be sitting on the sidelines and wondering what on earth is going on. Number two, you'd be looking at Russia and saying, well, should we buy some more of their cheaper oil, or should we not? And how do we engage with a broken Russia if that's what it's going? I mean, those are the kind of sensible diplomatic questions to be asked. And I mean, I think what the new foreign minister is merely pointing out is the fact that, you know, don't be afraid. He's talking for the domestic audience, basically, isn't he? He's saying, you know, we are a power in the world, and we deserve to be seen as such. I think it's slightly bellicose, but it's not declaring war.
Well, precisely the point. I thought that King Gang, was just showing off. He had been ambassador of the U.S. of China to the U.S. before his appointment as foreign minister, Chinese foreign minister, and he was holding his first press conference. So, you know, normal rhetoric just to show off. He can't be serious about talking about conflict or confrontation with the United States. However, he may be speaking with regard to the fact that the Speaker of the House of Reps, McCarthy, has now agreed with the President of Taiwan to visit the U.S. in April. And that, of course, you know, is bound to draw a reaction from the Chinese. As for Twitter, the big problem is that Twitter has now become the headquarters of trolling, of hate, of negativity. And then, of course, the inefficiency has gone through the roof. So much about Elon Musk allowing free speech. Now he's allowing free aid on that platform. But I wanted to ask you about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has just yesterday deposited $5 billion into the central bank of Turkey through the Saudi Development Fund. The same Saudi Arabia that rebuffed requests from Pakistan and Egypt for help. Now Saudi Arabia has given $5 billion and saying that, oh, it wants to help to stabilize Turkish economy. Is this really about altruism? Is this a positive gesture? Or this is an attempt by Saudi Arabia to influence the May 14 presidential election in Turkey? Do you agree that Saudi Arabia probably has a hidden agenda with Turkey?
I'm trying to, as you've been asking me that, I've been trying to think about it because it's not something which I've actually paid a great deal of attention to. But let's think about Saudi Arabia and think about Turkey. The reason that Europe likes Turkey in as much as it likes any kind of country is it forms a very convenient buffer between it and Russia. And also we know that Turkey, despite its problems, despite the strange monetary policies that it has, and despite the enormous tragedy that this earthquake has, I mean, this is incredible, isn't it? That over 40,000 people apparently have lost their life. That's an enormous amount of people, and a lot of people are being blamed for that. Maybe the president of Turkey, Erdogan, may well lose his job because of it. We still don't know. So what I'm thinking is that this is part of Saudi deliberately getting involved generally in giving money to states which actually need it from their oil riches. Now, I don't see how you link Turkey with Pakistan. I mean, they're another government which is saying, you know, you around the world have caused this climate change, and therefore we need money as repayment for that. I mean, these sort of arguments seem to me to be absolutely crazy. However, is Saudi trying to get involved? Yes, I think it is. Is it following China into countries which need money? Yes, I think it is. I think you're right. You're right, but again, where it's going with this is a mystery as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Michael, and see you tomorrow.